right? A little bit.
Talk about that.
Yeah, fifth podium of the season as well. 11th of his career, and Ron Rzuski, the team principal of Andretti Global, also joins us as the team celebrates their 80th all-time win in IndyCar Series history, including a sweep of these brand new street circuits here this year with streets of Arlington, streets of Markham, Ontario, and now today the streets of Washington, D.C. Kyle, 128 laps led. How the biceps?
The biceps are actually okay. It's my hands and my left calf that is hurting.
Right.
Hitting the brakes for as hard as you can for 2 hours and 40 minutes or whatever it was, and 147 laps. Every single corner you got to brake.
The heck of a workout.
Sure was. I'm going to need some rest.
Congratulations. Just your thoughts on a historic win here in D.C.
I mean, that was huge, right? I think after last weekend, my mistakes there kind of flipped a switch where I was like, I'm not going to – these mistakes feel terrible. I haven't had one of those in a very long time. And sometimes those are actually good for me because I feel like all this week I've worked harder than I ever have in preparation for this event. And I think those preparations paid off this weekend. So, yeah, it was a great feeling to rebound after last weekend, to get here, to see all the fans. 100,000 people on both days is absolutely incredible, right? Like the whole place, there's people, rows of 5 when we're going around in the pace laps, all the way around the track for 1.6 miles. Super cool to see. And yeah, to be able to win in what will be considered probably my home race, right? Being the Freedom 250 as an American, is something very special, and I'll cherish this moment for a very long time.
All right, more from Kyle here in a second. Again, for you, Ron, congratulations. These street circuits, Brand, I mean, you guys are on a roll right now. Just your thoughts on another victory this week. And, oh, by the way, 3 of the top 4 finishers too.
No, it's awesome. I mean, the momentum we've been carrying. I mean, Kyle, he did an awesome job today. He didn't put a wheel wrong all day, and you know, to echo his work ethic. You know, I read a quote earlier that said, you know, the ones who make it easy, you know, put in the most work on their own and quiet, and that's exactly what he did this week. And you know, I think as a whole, our team has really been clicking. I mean, today. Again, 1, 3, 4. Last week we had double podium. You know, I think we're really starting to see, just like we said last week, the momentum. You know, the team is really gelling. The 3 drivers working together, really pushing each other. It's something I'm used to, and it's something I'm really happy to see that we're going forward with.
Yeah, well done. Congratulations. All right, Erica's got a mic over here. We have a microphone on this side with Marion. Let's start with Jeff Gluck. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Kyle. You know, it was obvious how much this race was meaning to you leading in the days up to it, and you know, you were smiling every time you were talking about just competing on the streets, let alone winning here. How in those final laps were you able to push that out, you know, emotionally, and just focus on what you need to do to finish it off?
Well, it wasn't easy. I'm not going to lie to you. There's times where it's like 100 laps in, and I'm thinking about like winning this race, right? And I have to like block it out, like try and be like refocus, reset. I just tell myself to reset. And even in the last few laps, like once it got to the last lap, I could let myself breathe a little bit, you know, and soak it in a little bit, because we had about a 4.5 second lead, and it kind of chilled out in that lap. But if last weekend's any indicator, as soon as you lose a little bit of focus, big mistakes or small mistakes are very consequential. So, yeah, I did everything in my power to not let myself drift away in any sense.
More questions, Zion?
Ron, you talked about the work Kyle put in leading up to this week. I guess if both of you guys could kind of describe what that entails when it comes to putting in that work for a brand new street race.
Ron, you want to start?
Yeah, obviously the engineers, you know, we came here, everybody is the same for everybody. Nobody's been here. You know, all the engineers had to sift through. There was sim sessions, there was driver in the loop sim, there was, you know, damper work we were doing things, all, you know, a ton of prep up until this from everybody, not just the people here at the track, as people at home. You know, everybody was pitching in. We knew it was a big race, and you know, we treated it as such. And you know, these inaugural events this year, we've really, you know, I think it's really showed the strength of the team on how they, you know, they all bound together and really took it on. And the drivers, again, it was really instrumental for the drivers to work together and try things and spread that information amongst each other in the sessions.
You want me to add to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it starts with, like you said, the engineering group. They have done a phenomenal job all this season, whether it's street courses, it's road courses, it's ovals. We've elevated the game, or our game, exponentially. And it starts with them and the hard work that they're able to put in. Us drivers, we just get in it and we drive it. We either go fast or we don't. But quite honestly, they've given us the tools every single weekend to go fast. And those efforts and that growth that we've seen everywhere else is showing exponentially on these circuits that are brand new, because we're putting in that much more effort than maybe some of the others are.
And then, Kyle, what were your thoughts on the racing product, and do you want to come back here if possible?
I mean, there's two ways to look at it, right? I'm going to be super biased in two opinions. Either, no, I never want to come back here because I'll be the only winner of this thing. Or, biased in that direction too, yes, let's come back here because I want to win it again. So, it just depends how you look at it. I mean, I think we were extremely fast. So I hope it, quite honestly, I think for our sport and IndyCar, I hope that part of the race wasn't boring with me leading a lot of it, if I'm being completely honest. But the racing product when I was around other cars was, you could actually race cars pretty well. I didn't see the broadcast. I don't know exactly what it looked like. I don't know if it was great or not throughout the midfield and the rest of the pack. But from the front, I mean, we just had a dominant car, so it probably didn't look that shiny for the lead, did it? So
there was still 155 on-track passes through the field, so there's a lot of action.
Okay, that's a lot, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and you were slicing.
That's a lot.
You were slicing through.
Yeah, I mean, I had to get through traffic, right? And typically in those situations, you get stuck behind lap traffic and you can't pass. And I passed probably 8 or 10 cars in the race, which is it's a lot for a street course.
You had 12 for the race today.
12.
All told.
Okay.
Bruce?
Kyle, was there a moment today where you realized the magnitude of what this race was going to be, and when was that?
This morning when I woke up, quite honestly, you know, like there's a instinct that you have when you wake up and your heart's already racing. And I only get that feeling one other place, and that's the Indy 500. So just that sensation makes it gives its own energy, and that's what this place had. And this was a very special day. We were very prepared for it, and outside of the Indy 500, I don't think there's another race that you'd want to win.
And also, you've had dominant victories at Long Beach before, but was today probably the most dominant car you've ever had?
No, actually. If I'm being completely honest, I think some of the Long Beach wins that we had, maybe Detroit, even the years I didn't win, I thought our car was even better. Palou was extremely fast today. If they didn't have their pit lane woes, I think he would have been a force to be reckoned with. So in that sense, no, because of that. But outside of him, maybe yes.
Bob?
Yeah, for Ron, I've already asked Kyle like weeks ago about whether he could catch below, and he pretty much said he was out of range after last week. So,
well, I mean, we're doing what we talked about, right? I just feel like, well, I'm just going to go out there and try and win every single race and see where it goes from there. And it's starting to pan out. I mean, I can't control what Palou does. Maybe in very small circumstances you can, but in the sense of where he finished today or where he was going to finish today, there was no controlling that because you're in the lead. So we just had a very fortunate day in the points championship.
now I kind of wanted to ask Ron too. What about, or how, you've been in so many of these championship fights. Just what do you tell Kyle about? Do you talk about chasing and catching Palou, or do you just talk about running well?
Yeah, I think if it was if we were sitting here, 40 points out or something like that, it'd be a different conversation. But it's still 90 points out. I think to echo what Kyle said, we just have to go out there at this point and try and put numbers up on the board. And that being said, the best thing we can do is put all three of our cars in front of Palou. So that's really what we're trying to do, is not just have Kyle win races, but have Marcus and Will on the podium or in front of Palou, because that's the only way we have a chance. So if we can get all three on the podium every week, that's what we're going to try and do every week.
Let's go David and Sahil after that. Go ahead, David.
Kyle, you mentioned when you there we go. Kyle, you had mentioned when you woke up this morning, the magnitude of the event had sunk in. Has it sunk in that you've won it yet? Because this might be the only one.
I don't think so. I think it'll sink in while I'm doing media all day tomorrow, if I'm being honest. Because we're still in the middle of the championship, right? Like there's no breaks. We're going into a doubleheader next weekend, so that's going to be a lot of focus is going to go into that. But I'm sure when I get that trophy shipped to my house and I look at my phone here in a little bit and see all the text messages, it might start to sink in a little bit more.
Did you bring a suit for tomorrow? You going to make any visits to any houses that perhaps are white?
It's a phenomenal question. Looking for somebody from IndyCar. I do not know.
You never know, Kyle.
But I have a sport coat. I don't think that's going to suffice. So IndyCar might be buying me a new suit, which would be awesome. So,
Great.
38 regular. Yeah. Okay, was I going to just take yours, bud?
Not going to work, as you said, bud. Yeah.
Real quick for Ron. This was such a dominant run for the team. All three cars in the top five. It says it on your hat, USA. How important is this to this organization, its partners, to win this race and in such dominant fashion?
Yeah, I mean, we knew going in this was going to be a special event. The Penske Entertainment, Roger, and everybody, they just did a phenomenal job. In our pre-race meeting, especially in Power's pre-race meeting, we talked about we weren't gonna hold back. We're swinging for the fences today, and I think as a group, yep, Kyle's still in championship hunt, but I think we all knew that this is an Indy 500 kind of vibe, and the best, the 500, you win it or you don't, right? So it was to get that kind of effort here was really what we were talking about, and again, just trying to build that momentum for this team and trying to catapult us to the next level to be in the conversation every week. So that's just our focus and that's our goal. And I can't say how proud I am of the way he drove today and all the drivers. I mean, Marcus and Will just really, really pumped out laps when they needed to, and too bad Christian kind of messed up our day a little bit, but we'll get it. We'll get it sooner or later.
Got time for a handful more. Sahil from NBC News. Go ahead.
Kyle, congratulations on the win. A two-part question from me. First, does this feel like the most satisfying of your 7 victories in IndyCar? And second, from inside the helmet, what were your favorite parts of the track? Are there any particular views that you'll remember?
So to your first question, this likely is the most satisfying one that I've had. Just the magnitude of it's huge. I think this one and my first are pretty similar. Getting your first win in IndyCar is a very special moment and kind of solidifies that your dreams have come true. As a little kid growing up in go-karts and wanting to do this your whole career, and then finally winning against guys that you've watched on TV and admired for so long, and being able to beat them is very satisfactory. But also here, when you think about the magnitude, what this means, having this race here in DC, being the Freedom 200 as an American,